Welcome to CPAC Now, a special edition, special election coverage edition. I can't believe it. We're here already, 2024, Schlapp. We just got through Iowa. Give me your sense of what do you think happened that night?
Look, I think it's been an amazing 3 years. When we were on the Newsmax set, we were talking about, January 6th was such a sad day in a lot of ways. And most people thought it was kind of the end of Trump running for president. And he persevered through a lot of slimy press and all of these legal pursuits, and he's just dominating the field. I mean, it's hard to put in the proper terms just how much Donald Trump dominated in Iowa. The biggest percentage ever, 98 out of 99 counties. He only lost the 99th county
by
because
one vote or something?
By a Democrat who switched parties to vote for Nikki Haley. I mean, this is his nomination. They keep saying it's his party.
Right.
They don't want to get rid of Trump, and they don't want to get rid of his policies. And I don't know why that's so hard for establishment Republicans to get, and establishment conservatives too.
Yeah.
As Russ Vogt brought up on Twitter today, it's not just establishment Republicans that are pushing back on Trump. It's establishment conservatives. They've always been uncertain about Trump, and it's time for them to get over it.
So it's interesting that you said that. I do think, stepping back, I think Trump, obviously, it was a solid performance that night for him with over 50%. They were very organized. I think their political organization is solid. I think their political team is very strong. I do think that the loser was Ron DeSantis. I know everyone was talking about vying for second place. He got 21% of the vote. He goes out saying that they're blaming it on the media for calling it too early. But the reality is that he invested so much time in Iowa. That was his place to win, and he couldn't pull it off. Is that your sense from, kind of when you're stepping back? And I do think actually Nikki Haley, she exceeded expectations. She's got 19% in a state that really, she kind of played in a little later than usual. She's been honing in mostly on New Hampshire. I mean, does any of that matter?
I think on Twitter today, Marco Rubio brought up that.
I've been on Twitter a lot, Sean, lately.
But it's interesting.
And it's not Twitter, it's X now.
Sorry. T. Marco Rubio brought up, a reporter asked him, I think it was CNN, hey, did you talk to DeSantis before you crossed DeSantis to endorse Trump?
Yeah.
He said no. And then he said something that was interesting. I really don't talk to Governor DeSantis.
Right.
And then he said, DeSantis never called and even asked him for his endorsement. So the two senators from Florida endorsed Trump. Most of the congressional delegation endorsed Trump. So, DeSantis spent a lot of time in Iowa, so it's his own fault. He raised expectations on how we do in Iowa. Otherwise, second place finish probably would have been okay. But the more time he spent in Iowa, it didn't necessarily probably result in more support because this interpersonal thing is his biggest barrier to going national.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. And I also think the fact that so many of his surrogates were so nasty with the Trump. It was
terrible.
Like a constant yucky battle that even those of us looking from the outside going, why are they doing this? I never quite understood DeSantis's messaging.
Look, the paid social media kind of hatred towards other conservatives
doesn't play well.
It does. It's almost like an inside the beltway tactic. And I think we ought to chuck it.
I do want to look at these Real Clear Politics polls. We're seeing that the average is Trump at 44%, Haley at 31%, Christie at 11%, Ramaswamy, obviously, who endorsed Trump, 6%. Then DeSantis, pretty much dead last, 5.8%. Interestingly enough, I do think Christie's supporters could go to Haley. What do you think?
It was interesting because Christie on his way out the door really slimed Haley.
Yeah.
So, there's animosity between those two. Christie feels like he was pushed out by his donors.
Yeah.
Because they were like, look, Nikki Haley's a better option, and she was polling better. So, he kind of felt like he was roughed up on the way out. New Hampshire is where he put all of his eggs. But the way I look at New Hampshire is this. The Christie supporters, the Haley supporters, they're animated by independents and non-Republicans. So if Nikki Haley does very well in New Hampshire, it'll be because non-Republicans supported her, and that really doesn't have anything to do with securing the Republican nomination.
Do you think that the Democrats are going to get themselves organized enough to basically make sure Trump loses New Hampshire?
Well, I don't know if they can do that, but I do think there'll be an unprecedented funding of getting Democrats to vote in the Republican primary, because the first time ever they don't have a primary. Joe Biden believes that New Hampshire and Iowa are racist. Now, I hope you, both of those states, remember that for the general election, because Joe Biden is basically saying New Hampshire's too racist. It should start in South Carolina because there's a higher percentage of black voters.
So in South Carolina, I know that's a little more forward-looking, but Trump's at 52%, Haley at 21%, DeSantis at 11%. I don't see a path for DeSantis. I mean, should he just drop out now?
I think the bigger problem on South Carolina is Nikki Haley. She was a very popular governor, won twice, won in a Republican primary in the beginning, and Trump is more than doubling her in that poll.
Yeah.
You can't lose your home state and make any appeal that you should be able to be the nominee. And look, if DeSantis gets enough money to stay in, he'll have the same problem in Florida. They're both going to get smoked in their home states if they stay in. And look, it's inevitable. They should get out now. We'll see if their egos allow them to get out. Usually candidates don't get out until the money runs out.
Right.
And they've had, amazing supporters.
Who comes out first? Who steps out first, do you think? DeSantis or Haley?
Haley has a mortal problem with going forward to South Carolina.
Yeah.
She cannot lose. She's done politically if she loses her state by a substantial margin, really by any margin. So, yes, I can understand that she wants to go through with New Hampshire, but then she has this terrible loss facing her. You can't recover from it.
I do want to just real quick play the clip from President Trump when he spoke at his Iowa victory party. Let's play this clip.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This has been some period of time, and most importantly, we want to thank the great people of Iowa. Thank you. We love you all. What a turnout, what a crowd. And I really think this is time now for everybody, our country, to come together. We want to come together, whether it's Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative. It would be so nice if we could come together and straighten out the world and straighten out the problems and straighten out all of the death and destruction that we're witnessing. That's practically never been like this. It's just so important, and I want to make that a very big part of our message. We're going to come together. It's going to happen soon, too. It's going to happen soon.
So, Matt, I found President Trump's message, there's definitely a shift, which is he's saying, all right, we got to come together. It was a very, I think, positive message, because there are those arguing, well, he won by 50% in Iowa, but 50% of the Republican caucus goers went with other candidates. So do you think that message is going to work long term, or do you think what else can Trump do to bring Republicans home?
Well, first of all, the fact that 50% of caucus voters voted for someone else is a ridiculous statistic. It is something that is factual but inaccurate.
Right.
Yes, it's true, but nobody has ever garnered as much support as he got.
Yeah.
That's the real story. And I can't remember the second part of your question.
That's because we've been
That's because we're married.
That's
because we're married and we don't probably listen to each other.
I don't remember my question. No,
the message.
Yeah,
so
the message. Yeah.
When we were once again doing the Newsmax election coverage, which was great fun in New York City, we had this break in the action, and I remember talking to Rob Schmidt about, at this moment, why is Trump starting late? I think one of the reasons is they had to recalibrate, the pitch. And remember, Donald Trump built buildings in the toughest of circumstances because he knew how to, charm people and work it. And he knows now the time is to charm these supporters, right? And he might not get Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis' endorsement, but he can get a lot of their supporters. Already, you're seeing all these people like Kurt Schlichter and others, Laura Ingraham and others saying it's time to get behind Trump. So, it's all crumbling. So it's hard as a candidate when that happens for you. But, reality is your friend. Get real and adopt to reality before you look like a fool.
Like Matt said on our video the other day, it was about Mo, and I was like, what the heck is Mo? And you were like, it's momentum.
Big Mo.
That's Mo. So Big Mo. Well, we're going to leave it at that. You can, of course, keep watching us here at CPAC, and we're doing a lot of Newsmax on election coverage. It has been a lot of great work and analysis there. And remember, CPAC, it's a little more than a month away. So get your tickets, cpac.org. It's going to be epic. We're going to battle these globalists. We're going to battle these Marxists, and we're going to come together as a strong community to get it done. Any last thoughts, Schlapp?
They always say it's the most consequential election in our lifetime. And this one, it's really, does civilization go on? or do we surrender ourselves to the World Economic Forum? I mean, it's outrageous what's happening. So I think we better stand up this time, guys. It's, this is kind of the end.
Yeah, or the beginning. Thank you all for watching. God bless, and God bless America.